Have you gone crazy? Pathetic Meghan Markle desperately begs King Charles to fund her as ever brand and gets brutally ignored. She did what now? That's the first thing that likely popped into your head when you heard that Meghan Markle begged King Charles, yes, King Charles, to fund her new lifestyle brand as ever. A brand she describes as a collection of products inspired by her love of cooking, entertaining, and hostessing with ease. Now let that sink in for a second. The woman who turned her back on royal duties, packed up the royal china, and fled to California is reportedly back with her hand out, asking for help from the very institution she ghosted. But here's the kicker. King Charles flat out ignored her. No royal advisor returned the call. No formal statement. Just silence. And in royal circles, that's louder than a tabloid headline. So, what's the deal? Why is Meghan Markle desperately pleading for help with her business now? What does this say about the state of her brand, her finances, and her relationship with the royals? And more importantly, how did we get here? Grab a cup of tea or something stronger, because you're about to dive into one of the juiciest royal business turned soap operas of the year. Section 1. The rise of As Ever, from glamorous dreams to garage startup energy. Let's rewind the royal clock for a moment. Meghan's As Ever brand made its debut with glossy photos, poetic taglines, and a website that screamed, Goop 2.0 meets Pinterest Queen. The idea? A carefully curated collection of kitchenware, home essentials, and hostess-inspired products that reflect Meghan's true essence, or at least the California version of it. The brand message? Elevate your everyday. The unspoken message? Please forget about that Spotify deal that tanked and the Netflix shows no one watched. It was clear Meghan wanted to carve her path as a domestic goddess for the modern woman. Picture this. Beautifully lit countertops, hand-poured candles, artisan jam spreads, and handwritten recipe cards with a Meghan flair. And, to be honest, the vision wasn't terrible. There's something charming about wanting to bring joy to the everyday. But charm doesn't keep the lights on. Because what As Ever lacked was credibility. Not in design, those photos were aesthetic perfection, but in intent. The public wasn't quite buying the image of Meghan as a down-to-earth hostess. After all, this is the same woman who hosted her baby shower in a Manhattan penthouse and regularly rubs shoulders with Hollywood elite. Hardly the girl next door teaching you how to bake banana bread with a baby on her hip. So when the brand fizzled on arrival, fans were disappointed, critics were gleeful, and Meghan was, allegedly, looking for cash. Which brings us to the palace gates. Section 2. Meghan's Royal SOS. Why she turned to King Charles. According to insiders and a fair share of eyebrow-raising leaks, Meghan reached out to King Charles with what sounded like a heartfelt plea: fund her business. She reportedly pitched it as a chance for the royal family to support her entrepreneurial goals, frame it as a gesture of goodwill, and, let's be real, maybe smooth over the years of transatlantic tension. But here's the issue. You can't burn a bridge and then expect someone to build you a toll booth on the ashes. The royal family operates under tradition, discretion, and a serious PR machine. They don't back lifestyle brands run by ex-royals who wrote tell-all memoirs and called them out on national television. Charles's response? Crickets. Sources close to the palace say he acknowledged the request in private but had no intention of offering financial support. Translation: not a chance. And honestly, can you blame him? Would you give startup money to someone who called your family a den of vipers and accused them of unspeakable things? Even if they do have a nicely packaged cookware line? Section 3. The business side. What's actually going wrong with As Ever? Okay, so we've laughed a little, but let's get serious for a minute. From a business perspective, As Ever is struggling. And not just because of the royal drama. Lack of a core audience. Meghan hasn't nailed down who she's selling to. Royals? Americans? Millennials? Boho moms? Authenticity issues. The public has a sixth sense for spotting a PR-crafted identity. Meghan's pivot to lifestyle guru felt off. Media fatigue. Let's face it, people are tired. Between the Oprah interview, the docuseries, the Spotify drama, and the legal battles, the public's appetite for more Markle brand stories is diminishing. When your image is based on controversy, people eventually stop showing up unless you reinvent yourself. And even then, they'll be skeptical. It's a harsh business reality. No amount of royal drama can sell enough $80 jam jars to stay afloat. Section 4. The Royal Cold Shoulder. A pattern emerges. This isn't the first time Meghan has faced royal rejection. From being denied her wish to live in Windsor Castle to losing her royal patronages, the firm has made it very clear. Once you're out, you're out. But this latest plea to King Charles might just be the most desperate attempt yet. Not because she wants to return to the royal fold, that ship sailed into the sunset with her Netflix deal, but because she's looking for validation. For someone who walked away from one of the most powerful families in the world, Meghan is still knocking on the palace door, hoping they'll recognize her success or fund her version of it. And the palace's silence? It speaks volumes. If you listen closely, you can almost hear Queen Camilla sipping tea and whispering, "Bless her heart." Section 5. What this says about Meghan now. Here's where it gets human. Behind the headlines, Meghan's request, however tone-deaf, shows something a lot of us can relate to. Trying to find footing after burning bridges. We've all had moments where we made big decisions we thought would liberate us, only to realize we needed a little help later on. It's humbling. What if she uses this failure as fuel? The comeback story is always more powerful than the rise. But only if it's done with humility, grace, and maybe a little less jam. Section 11. Hollywood's not-so-warm welcome. Has Meghan burned bridges there, too? While Meghan's struggles with the royals are well documented, there's another industry watching her brand flounder with crossed arms and skeptical eyes. Hollywood. Remember when she and Harry inked that massive Netflix deal worth a reported $100 million? It was supposed to be the gateway to their post-royal empire, packed with documentaries, dramas, children's programming, and inspirational content. Fast forward, and the results have been underwhelming. Aside from Harry and Meghan, a docuseries that received mixed reviews, and Live to Lead, which failed to make much impact, there hasn't exactly been a Meghan Markle content takeover. Rumors even started swirling that Netflix might scale back its investment or rethink the entire partnership. And in a town where your last success is your currency, Meghan is dangerously close to going bankrupt, reputationally speaking. Then came the whispers that her calls weren't being returned. That big-name producers were passing. That as ever was her pivot not by choice, but by necessity. That's when you know you've got a problem. So when Meghan knocked on King Charles's gilded door, maybe it wasn't just about money. Maybe it was about relevance. A quiet acknowledgement that if the royals won't back her, and Hollywood isn't picking up either, where does she go? Section 12. The Meghan Paradox. Why people can't stop watching her fail or fly. Let's be real. The fascination with Meghan Markle isn't just about tea towels and tiaras. It's about what she represents. She's the outsider who broke into the most exclusive club in the world, the British monarchy, and then left on her own terms. She's the modern woman who said no to centuries of tradition. She's the face of freedom, feminism, and finding your voice. Unless you ask her critics, who call her entitled, manipulative, and fame-hungry. And that's where it gets interesting. Because whether you love her or loathe her, people care. She draws attention in a way few celebrities do. She's not just a tabloid fixture. She's become a symbol of cultural conflict. Is she a trailblazer or a troublemaker? Is she redefining royalty or just milking it for cash? Is she misunderstood or perfectly understood? These aren't just idle gossip questions. They're debates being had at dinner tables, on talk shows, and across social media threads from London to Los Angeles. Meghan has become a mirror, reflecting our own biases about class, gender, race, power, and ambition. And that's why every move she makes, including begging King Charles for money, gets picked apart like a royal feast. One of the biggest hurdles facing Meghan isn't the lack of funding. It's the lack of trust. Over the years, her story has changed so many times that even her supporters sometimes struggle to keep up. Was she silenced? Or was she controlling the narrative? Was she fighting for privacy or signing production deals? Was she leaving the royal family to escape the spotlight or just trading one stage for another? Public figures can reinvent themselves, but not if it feels manipulative. In Meghan's case, the perception has turned. What was once seen as empowering is now viewed by many as calculated. What was once seen as rebellious is now perceived as opportunistic. And as ever, instead of being a brand that could mark her rebirth, ended up symbolizing all that uncertainty. In the age of TikTok and transparency, authenticity is the real currency, and Meghan's critics are cashing in on the idea that she's bankrupt in that department. Section 14. Will Harry step in? Let's not forget the other half of this royal soap opera, Prince Harry. Harry has largely stood by Meghan through every twist, turn, and headline. But behind the scenes, how much longer can he continue playing human shield? Reports suggest that the two have had tense moments recently, especially surrounding business decisions. Some sources claim Harry was hesitant about the As Ever launch, concerned it would invite more backlash and bring them even closer to the drama they claimed to escape. Yet here they are, again, facing a media storm, and Harry is stuck between the palace that won't welcome him and a wife whose brand might need a total overhaul. Will he step in and help fund As Ever with his own resources? Or is he, too, wondering if it's time to pull the plug? If Harry starts distancing himself from Meghan's ventures, it would signal a seismic shift not just in their relationship, but in how seriously anyone takes her future projects. Because, let's face it, if Prince Harry doesn't believe in the brand, why should King Charles? Section 15. A pivot Meghan might actually pull off. Okay, let's play devil's advocate. What if Meghan drops the jam jars, the curated cheese boards, and the hand-lettered invitations and builds a new brand entirely? Imagine this. Meghan 3.0, The Mentor. A platform where she helps women of color navigate corporate life, builds up young entrepreneurs, and focuses on empowerment through education. She stops trying to sell aesthetics and starts delivering impact. Think Michelle Obama meets Oprah with a hint of Pinterest queen energy. That's a brand people could believe in. That's a Meghan people might root for again. It would be about legacy, substance, story, not sponge cake recipes. And you know what? She has the platform, the